is Distinctive Delphine from Montrose, Colorado, here today with Tom at Community Options. I am very excited to have you with us today. So why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do, Tom?
You bet. Thank you, first of all, so much for having me and for this project that you've embarked on. I'm Tom Turner. I'm the Executive Director at Community Options. I've had the honor of holding that position now for just over 25 years. I had that anniversary in March.
Happy anniversary. That's an achievement. Congratulations.
We serve people with intellectual disabilities, and I'll get into that obviously in more detail in a minute, but I actually started my career in 1977 at a comparable agency in Fort Collins. Worked there for almost 19 years prior to accepting this position here. So it's really pretty much all I've done my adult life is supporting people with disabilities, and feel very blessed to have found my niche.
That's amazing. And tell me a little bit more about what Community Options actually do. So I know that it helps, and I think most people know that you guys are amazing in helping people with disabilities, but what exactly does that mean? And what kind of disability should it be? So if I struggle with ADHD, do I qualify? And then if you can follow that with what kind of help we can get, I think that will help a lot of people in town.
You bet. You bet. And actually, we get that question a lot. We serve people with intellectual disabilities, so basically cognitive disabilities, or what we used to call mental retardation. We don't use that term anymore, but it's probably a term that the general public is more familiar with. So I get a question a lot of times of, somebody has a friend or a neighbor that maybe lost an arm in an industrial accident or something, and they'll say, well, you serve people with disabilities, can you serve that person? And the answer would be, well, unless that person also has a cognitive disability, no, we would not be able to. So we serve people that we support may have Down syndrome, they may have cerebral palsy, they may have autism, they may have seizure disorders, they may have psychiatric disabilities. But again, the underlying disability that makes them eligible for our services is that cognitive deficit or intellectual disability.
Well, that's really good to know, because personally, I didn't know. I wasn't quite clear.
Right.
And when we talk about the intellectual disability, is there a certain level, or how do you define if you can help someone?
Basically, and without getting too far into the weeds here, we do psychological testing, and it's primarily an IQ under 70.
Okay, great. That's kind of what I...
And one other thing that I would say, Delphine, is how the state defines a developmental part of a developmental disability is something that occurred prior to the age of 22 within the developmental years. So a baby that's born with Down syndrome or something, that's real simple. But change the scenario to where it's a normally functioning, bright, high school age kid has a car wreck with a closed head injury, and that kid is 16, they're probably going to qualify for our services. Same person, same scenario, and that person was 25 years old, they would not qualify for our services. And we can refer them to a division of voc rehab and mental health and some other services, but those are the statutory rules that we play by.
Well, and I will say too, when in doubt, just call Tom, right?
Absolutely.
Because for us, I think, we met on the community call that we were doing weekly through COVID and now monthly for the county. And we have so much access to help. And that's what inspired me to do these calls. It's really because we have all of these access, and we know exactly, you would be a great fit with the Center for Mental Health, because this is exactly what they're focusing on. Or you would be a great fit with Region 10 for something else that you might need. So again, in doubt, just give them a call and call Tom and say, this is what I'm struggling with, and we'll find you help, is the bottom line. Is that correct?
You bet. Awesome. So to maybe get into a little bit of what we do, I think one of the unique things, Delphine, about our agency is that we really, when we connect with people who are eligible for our services, we can provide supports for them throughout their entire lifespan. So we start with an early intervention program, which is for children birth through 3, some of whom have real significant disabilities, some of whom just need some help to get started. And by the time they're 3 years old, they no longer require any services, and we have great celebrations.
Aww.
So that's the beginning. Then as those 3-year-olds transition into public school services, we still continue to support those families and those children through a couple of different programs. One called our Family Support Program, and then we have a couple of Medicaid programs that we can provide services for school-age kids. And then as those kids, if they're still in need of developmental disabilities services as they age out of high school, either at 18 or 21, at that point we have a real broad array of services available to adults that need them. And by that, I mean, on our continuum, everywhere from people who have really significant disabilities that depend on our staff for all of their activities of daily living. They may need us to feed them, bathe them, diaper them, toilet them, manage their medications, all of those sorts of things. Then on the other end of our continuum, we also have people who live semi-independently in the community, and we may just have staff who are supporting them on a pretty minimal basis, maybe helping them with grocery shopping, maybe helping them with money management, helping them get a job in the community and keep a job in the community and access all points transit for transportation, that type of thing. So, and we currently are serving several people who are in their 80s. We, up until a couple of years ago, was serving a woman who was in her early 90s who unfortunately passed away. But again, as I say, I think that's fairly unique that most agencies don't serve people throughout the entire lifespan. There are people that we are currently serving who are in their 30s, 40s, 50s, who we started serving when they were very, very young. So
that's amazing.
We get pretty attached to.
I bet you do. What do you do when they move?
Yeah, that's hard. Or when they pass away, that's certainly one of the hardest things that we have to deal with. But we certainly do everything we can to support people in a way that they have a fulfilling life, a happy life, a life of their own choosing, doing the things that they like to do and want to do, and hopefully support people in a way, again, that they're able to access the same type of things that you and I do in the community of, going to the rec center and going hiking and going fishing and all of those things that we used to get to do before COVID.
Yes, right? Gosh.
Yeah.
I sure wish we could still do those things.
Yeah.
Tell me more about how we get a hold of you.
To get a hold of us, first of all, you can go to our website, which is communityoptionsinc.org. You can contact our office here at 249-1412. You can either ask for me at extension 235, or if a person is really seeking services, the best thing to do is to ask for our case management department, because that's the other focus that we are responsible for and perform that I haven't really talked about. Community Options is one of 20 community center boards around the state that are designated to provide access to certain Medicaid programs and then provide case management for all of those programs. So those are the people, and there it goes across the bottom of the screen. That's great. I don't know how you did that, but that's wonderful.
Quickly.
And those are the folks that would talk with you about what the service options are what our intake process is, what type of information we would need to go through an eligibility process and that sort of thing. So I'm always happy to talk with anybody about our services, but if you really want to get to the people who know how to get you plugged in, it's the case management folks. They're the folks that are really good at that.
And so what's their extension? I can map it real quick.
There are a number of them. Hang on.
Oh, that's okay. I can just leave it as is and just ask for case management.
Well, let me give you, Elaine Wood is our case management director, and her extension is 227. I had to look it up.
Perfect. Elaine Wood, like this. Let's see. I think I got this right.
So maybe just a little bit about how our world has changed with COVID, and it certainly has, as has everyone's. We, on March 19th, and let me back up a little bit, we currently serve about 400 people. So we're not a small organization. We do serve all 6 counties of Region 10, so about 9,600 square miles. So in terms of people, Delphine, that you may come in contact with, and they're buying a home in Hotchkiss or Nucla or Lake City or wherever, we're an organization that provides services in those areas. So they can feel free to support us and know that they're supporting someone who does work in their area. But going back to COVID, we shut down our day programs. We usually have, we have a day program site up in Cedar Edge. We have a large day program building up there, and then we have another large day program building on North Park here in Montrose. And on any given day in our normal life, we would have maybe 50, 60 people that we support in and out of that building, going on community outings, going to their jobs, engaging in activities in those settings. And we shut those down March 18th.
Oh, wow.
So we have people right now who live in our group homes. We operate 6 group homes throughout Delta and Montrose County. We have people in those group homes who are still basically under nursing home restrictions. We've got people that haven't been out of their homes since mid-March, which is not good for anybody.
No, so, emotionally, it's very difficult.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So we're doing our best to provide them with activities in those homes and keep them, from getting terminal cabin fever, but it's certainly a struggle. Yeah. And we don't know when that's going to change. Just like about every other business I know, there for a long time, realtors weren't allowed to show homes and that sort of thing. So I think in any business, we're all trying to figure out what our new normal is going to be. Mm-hmm. And we certainly don't know that as yet, but both from the standpoint, again, of the people that we support getting horribly bored and horribly confined, and the fact that that's a major revenue hit for our agency, not being able to provide any of those day program services. It's a struggle right now, for sure.
I'm sure. And talking about the struggle, this is really the goal of these videos, is to raise awareness and to see how can we help. So if I'm watching this video and in the community and I'm wondering, how can I help Tom? Give me options. You
bet. I can give you 2 or 3 of them. First of all, certainly any donations to our agency are certainly very much appreciated and needed. Second thing would be, and I haven't talked about this, we also own and operate the Second Impressions consignment store at 420 North Townsend. Oh. We bought that, it's been about 3 years ago now, and really with the point of providing employment opportunities for the people that we support. So we have a number of our clients who work there. That also has been closed down. We just, in the past, week and a half, started opening. We are now open again on Fridays and Saturdays. So certainly encouraging people to either donate goods there. I know with people being locked down, everybody's been cleaning out their closets. So taking things there either for donation or for consignment, exactly, or shopping there, certainly will support us. And then one final thing that we have been involved in now for about a year is we came up with something. There are so many events in this area that businesses, I'm sure you get a hit up for tickets to an event on a very regular basis, as everybody else does. So we came up with what we called the No Event event. And what that boiled down to is we got a grant from the Colorado Department of Transportation last year, which allowed us to purchase 3 beautiful new vans to transport the folks that we support.
I just drove by North Park and saw them.
Aren't they beautiful?
They are beautiful.
Maybe we will even get to drive them one of these days. So.
I drove by and I was like, oh my gosh, I haven't seen those before.
So what we have been doing, Delphine, is selling, and again, if somebody will contact me, if somebody's interested in that, I certainly can get them the information of businesses that want to put their logo on those vehicles and have the publicity and advertising to have them driving around, again, hoping we get to drive them around someday. Or we've even had a number of people too who are just community citizens who, you know, don't have a business, don't have a logo, but that was a way that they could support us, because along with that grant from CDOT, we had a local match that we had to come up with. And we this year wrote another grant to CDOT and have 2 more new vans coming in the current year. So we'll be doing the same thing again. So those are real practical, down-to-earth ways that anybody in the community who wants to help us can do so.
That's amazing. I love the idea of the no event event.
I think so many of us, you know, okay, what do we have to go to this weekend, you know, type of thing. So no, we came up with that idea for exactly that reason, and it's been very successful. Because our organization has been, in my opinion, dramatically underfunded in the rates that we get from the state for many, many years, we've got vehicles that we're still transporting people in that have 200,000 miles, 300,000 miles, et cetera. And so we are just so thrilled to be able to start replacing some of them, and are really grateful to the Colorado Department of Transportation.
That is amazing. And I'm so glad to hear that. So if I hear you correctly, we can donate. We can go shop at 420 North Townsend.
Correct.
We can check out the No Event event and add a logo to one of your vans.
Absolutely. And also back to second impressions, you can also consign things there. And then when we sell it, there's a proportion that gets paid back to the person who did the consignment. So it's not just strictly a thrift store.
Oh man, I shouldn't have donated all my clothes. That's great to know. Second impressions. Okay, great. And then tell me about volunteering. Do you have options for volunteering?
We really don't use too many volunteers, Delphine, just because so many of the people that we support are extremely vulnerable. We do have some people that, when our day programs are operating, come in and do activities. We've had people come in and help with arts and crafts, or people who come in and play music and that sort of thing. But as far as volunteers who really come in and work with the folks that we support, it really requires a whole lot more training than a volunteer usually is willing to put in.
Yes, I can understand that. I think, you know, I was just going through the interview process with just partners, actually, and it's just so in depth, right? And it covers so many things that I would never even have thought about, and that no one with a disability. So I can't even begin to understand, you know, the kind of qualifications, and I would assume empathy and kindness that you need to have, and patience.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's one of the things that has kept me in this field for 43 years. And at our agency, actually, I was just looking at that. We have 5 employees at our agency who have worked here over 30 years. We have 20 people who have worked here over 15 years. I mean, it certainly is something, to your point, that requires a lot of empathy, a lot of caring, a lot of dedication. And it's not for everybody, but for those of us who I said earlier find our niche, it's what we do. So.
Well, thank you so much for all that you do. You've covered so much. Thank you so much for all the details, all the information. This is all about education for me, to educate people about what's available to them. A lot of people don't know. So I'm really excited about sharing all this information.
Thank you.
Is there anything else that you would like to share with us?
The only other thing I'd like to share is, yes, drive by those beautiful vans out on North Park. We are so proud of them.
They are gorgeous. I seriously, like, I had to take a double take. You know, you're driving, you're fine, and then I was like, woo.
Yeah, well, thank you. We're real excited about them. And again, hopefully one of these days you'll see them driving all over town, but we're just not there yet. So.
Well, and even if it's not driving all over town and a logo is on those vans, your location has a lot of traffic.
You bet. You bet.
So it's definitely great exposures. So I'm definitely going to think about that.
Okay.
Well, thank you so much for your time. Everyone, this was Tom Turner from Community Options. Again, thank you for all that you do. We're so glad and lucky to have you in our community.
You bet. I feel incredibly humbled to do what I do. So thank you so much for your time and interest.
Well, thank you. You have a fantastic rest of your day, and hopefully we'll catch up with you soon.
Okay. Thank you again. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.